All right, Rock Addicts, this is DJ REM from Rock Addict Radio, and I have Sam from the band The Sammus Theory on the line. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Wish it was warmer out, but hey, we'll deal with it.
Nice.
Okay, so if you don't mind, go ahead and start introducing yourself and your spot in the band, and please also introduce the other members that aren't with us today.
Well, I'm Sam Hughes, and I sing for the band Sammus Theory. We got Kyle Wellnell, he plays rhythm guitar for the band. Jeremy Tabor plays lead guitar. Marshall Herod plays the drums, and Brent Gilliland plays the bass.
Okay, so I know in like 2 days you have the official release of the new album, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
The album's called Entitled Anonymous, and it's got 12 tracks. I think all of them are good. Pretty excited about it. Put a lot of work into it, and it's been a long process, but it's really good. So yeah, it's been good for us. It's a big growing process. So
very good. And did I see you guys just had like a release party a couple days ago?
we did. It was on Friday night here in Phoenix. It was our first show. We're doing kind of a string of CD release parties across the country for this thing. So it was the first one, and actually went really well. It was a packed house, and all the songs got received really well.
Very good. So what else is on the docket for you guys? What other live shows and stuff do you guys have coming up?
We've got a whole string of them. We're going to be out on tour from, it starts this Friday in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it's going to go until August 1st. So we're hitting Texas, we're hitting Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, Washington, North Dakota, all sorts of places. Just a nice long string of tour dates to support it, and then we're going to take a month off in August, and then we're going to hit the East Coast over the fall time. So
very cool. Do you have any plans to come to Michigan?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. No specific details where yet, though, but I'm guessing we'll have quite a few Michigan dates.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll keep my eye out on that because I'd love to come see you guys live, so that'd be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so why don't you tell... The only track off the new album I have so far is Numb, so why don't you tell me a little bit about that song?
That song is one of those songs that just kind of came together perfectly. It was one of those ones, you have those songs where you sit down and you write, and it takes a little bit of time to get into it and to have everything come out right, and you have to tweak it and work at it a little bit. And Numb was one of those ones where, when I sat down to write it, it just kind of came out, and it was a couple hours later, it was done. And and I don't know, it was just a very smooth process with that song. But yeah, I think it's...
Okay, well that's cool, and I look forward to hearing the rest of them, and I'm hoping / assuming that between you guys and Shauna, I will probably end up with those tracks, so...
Yeah, absolutely.
The more tracks I have, the more I can play on the radio, so...
You'll get them all.
So before I forget, and speaking of Shauna, I don't want to forget to give Shauna O'Donnell a big, huge thanks for hooking me up with you guys again. She's awesome.
Shauna is absolutely incredible. She is she's one of the teammates here on the Sammus team. We've been working with her since 2009, and we've got a pretty tight knit group with her, and she's one of us. So definitely awesome to work with.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, she's the one that hooked me up with you guys the first time, so definitely very cool. Okay, so why don't you tell me how long the Sammus Theory has been together as a band? We
started things up really. 2005 is when the Sammus Theory became something. In 2006, the band came together as a group, as a whole, and then 2007 is when we hit the road and started touring. We haven't stopped since. So
And what kind of happened in the beginning to get things moving for you? I mean, what was the desire to get this band formed?
The Sammu Theory has been an idea of mine for a long time. I mean, and I think when I came down to Arizona in 2004, I moved down from Idaho to go to audio engineering school, and I finished there, and I interned at the studio. And I ended up meeting a guy he's now like one of my best friends, but ended up meeting a guy there that I interned for, named Glenn, and he had this crazy idea. He goes, oh, you have some music ideas. He goes, let's make something out of it. And he inspired me to get things going, and so I put out a bunch of ads, and I found Kyle. Well, no, it was a guitar, and him and I worked together, putting the rest of the band together, and it just grew from there.
Okay, very cool. So, and then how often? Now I know you guys are busy with getting ready for the release. You had the release party and stuff, and getting ready to go on tour. But how often are you guys able to get together and practice and just kind of prepare, I guess, for all this?
Probably not as much as I'd like. Everybody kind of lives in different areas now. Kyle lives up in Montana. Marshall lives out in Houston. I live in New Mexico and Phoenix, kind of back and forth. My family's down in New Mexico, and I go and visit them a lot. And Jeremy's here in town. Brent's in Tennessee. So when we have a tour coming up, we usually plan about 2 to 3 weeks ahead. Everybody gets together. We start rehearsing. We start putting things together. Do our merch order. Put everything together. So I'd say probably have 2 to 3 weeks to prepare when we're about ready to do a tour.
Okay, very cool. I mean, and that kind of shows to me as a fan that how well you guys work together. I mean, to be able to to live so far apart and then just kind of right before a tour, just kind of put it all together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good communication line going. I mean, we've got we've got the band email. We all send ideas in there, and we stay in constant communication when we're not physically together. So we all know what's going on, and we all know what we're thinking and what we want to do and how we want to do it. So we're all prepared when we actually get together. We know what the plan of attack is.
Hey, very good. So this question is kind of geared towards just for you. What kind of influences have you had in your life? I mean, growing up and just as life goes on, what kind of musical influences have you had that made you want one to do this and two to keep doing it?
I had a bit of them. My mom and dad are different with their music that they listen to. My dad's really big into classic rock. He's got like Kiss and Blue Oyster Cult and Rush, and my mom's on the other side of the fence. She's got Rob Zombie and Stone Temple Pilots, White Zombie. Listen to all that stuff while she's cleaning the house. And I remember that. And I remember when I first ordered CDs. It was one of those buy 12 for 1 cent sign up membership.
Yep, Columbia House.
And I got in trouble because I signed up for it and sent it in, and my mom found out about it. But in my first CD collection, I had Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, and that was awesome. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. And I remember in 8th grade, I finally caught wind of Marilyn Manson, and I remember getting freaked out by the band and the idea. And I got a hold of this VHS tape. It was the Dead to the World tour. It was unmarked. I don't remember where I got it, but I had it, and I snuck it in my room one time, and I put it in my VCR, and I'm watching it, and I remember just being completely into it, just the way that it could make you feel, like their whole stage setup, their whole persona, everything was so powerful. It scared people,
Right.
I was thinking that was such a cool thing that you could use music as a whole setting for the tone of what you want to do as a band, you know. And that was a huge inspiration. I think just realizing how insanely strong music can be.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with me. And so besides influences, you know, having this band, the Sammus Theory, and keeping it going, has it been a tough thing? I mean, have you had to make a lot of personal sacrifices to keep this going, or is it just, you know, music, you love it so much it just happens?
You know what? It just happens, but along the way there's a lot of sacrifice. I mean, we by no means live normal lives. I mean, we go out and we tour, and I mean, it gradually gets better as we go, but when we first started, it's like you load up the van and you just go, and you don't know where you're going to sleep. You don't know anybody in the country, you know, and so you just go, you play a show, you're sleeping on floors, you're sleeping in the van, you're eating, sometimes you're not, and it's you know, I think just touring in itself has a huge sacrifice of you don't. It's really tough to build relationships with people because you don't really live in one spot. You're just always on the move, you know.
Right.
Going outside, I mean, you get to meet a lot of cool people. You make a lot of friends across the country with other bands and music lovers, and but it's definitely an uphill battle. It's financially draining. It's physically draining, mentally draining, but it's all worth it. It really is. I mean, there hasn't ever been a time that five of us has thought about throwing in the towel in this band. You know, it's always been every obstacle that we hit. It's all right. How do we get over this? Let's figure out how to take it on and then keep going up.
You mean you guys work together as a team? Holy crap!
Yeah. Well, and then we figured out early on, you know, when there's five guys tucked into a small space and you're constantly together, and you know, and there's different views on certain things, certain approaches that people have to doing things, and for, you know, you have five different people with five different ideas. We finally figured out setting goals so we can rope in those ideas and make them more focused, so you can go, is that what we're going for as a band, you know, and we figured out communicating early, like back in '07, you know, you're bickering, and you finally realize when you sit down as five people and you just talk to each other and you don't yell, you know, any of that stuff, you know, you really figure out that when you talk to each other, you can make things smooth. You can work out any problems you've got, anything like that, you know. And so we figured that out early. So it's been really easy to work as a solid unit since then.
Very cool, man. So the next question I have for you is, you know, the question you probably ask all the time, but where did the name, the Sammus Theory, come from? I mean, how did you decide to name the band that?
Oh, man. Well, first I was 19. Let's see. Sammus was a nickname of mine growing up, and I hate saying it. Because it comes across like I named the band after me, and I don't ever want people to think that. It's more of I started looking at like Sammus was kind of an alter ego of mine. It was what I was going to be on stage and what I was going to, you know, where the music came from and things like that. It was this other side of me, and so what it developed into was the idea that everybody has this alter ego that music brings out of them, and you know, and I've said it before, but it's like when we play shows, we get to see that side of people every night, and so it's something that's that unfolds in front of us every night. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, the band's not really named after me. It's just kind of personalized.
Right.
I guess you could say.
That's cool. It works, and apparently everybody loves it. So.
Well, hey, that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's right. So, where is a good place for people to go find out more about the Sammus Theory? What social networking and websites and stuff do you guys use?
We are all over the place. We've got our official website, www.thesammustheory.net. We have all sorts of links on there about the band, music, videos, pictures. You can find us on Facebook.com/TheSammusTheory, Twitter.com/TheSammusTheory, YouTube.com/TheSammusTheory, and then there's the typical Google search. If you type in Sammus Theory, there's a ton of stuff that comes up I don't even know about. It's always fun to just go do that and go look and see what comes up. So pick which avenue you want to go and hit us up.
And what about buying the new CD and any merchandise you guys have? Where's the best place for that?
You know what? Our website has a lot of that. It's going to be up on iTunes starting on Tuesday, April 23rd. We've already got See It Through and Trust and Lie. Our 2 previous albums are up on iTunes and on our website. And we post, Facebook is really active for us. We keep the website updated constantly, so I'd say those are 2 of the best places to keep in the loop with what we're doing. I know a lot of people who go to work are Facebook blocked, so website for those guys is definitely the place to go. And again, www.thesammustheory.net, and then our Facebook page for those of you who love Facebook, facebook.com/TheSammusTheory.
Okay, very good. And are you guys good about responding to fans and stuff on your Facebook page and kind of keeping up with that?
Every person who sends something gets something back, so yes.
Very good. Well,
for the most part, we try, we really do.
Right.
When we're out on the road, it gets a little bit difficult, but we backtrack and see who we missed or who we may have missed and try and get it back.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. As just a fan of music, I know when I go to a band's Facebook page and I might just put Horns High on there or just, hey, you guys rock or something. When the band responds to that, I'm like, hey, they read my post and they actually know that I care about them. So it's really cool when the band responds.
Well, yeah, honestly, I've heard some crazy things. And there's bands who are not touring. They stay at home and they're not touring, and I see posts on their page that they're too busy. Don't get upset when we don't reply. We're too, because we're too busy doing band stuff. And I think to myself, it's like, well, how are you too busy? I can understand if you're getting 2,000, 3,000 posts a day,
right.
You're probably not going to hit all of them. It's really difficult to maintain that. But when, if you're getting, 20 posts a day or 25 posts a day, it's not hard to acknowledge them. It really isn't, and if you can't make time for your fans, you're in the wrong business.
Right, you got that right.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world.
Yeah, the fans are everything with music. And I think there's a lot of bands that forget that. They think it's about the labels. The labels were an avenue to reach the fans. Now you got internet radio, you've got all sorts of different ways that you can reach the fans yourselves. You don't need the labels, and people forget that. Bands forget that. The fans are the reason they're here.
Yeah, this next thing I'm going to say doesn't fit the genre, but look at like Macklemore and Lewis, with their whole thrift shop thing, that song.
Mm-hmm.
I hear them on satellite radio. I see them like freaking everywhere. They don't have a label.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You don't need a label. A label these days, for the most part. There's some good independent labels out there, but a label for the most part is a ridiculously high interest loan, and it's like if you were to go get a job and you work so hard and you get paid like 2% maybe.
Right.
All the money that you're making, the label's taking the rest of the 98%, and out of that 2%, you got to pay your producer, you got to pay your management, and you have to pay back this ridiculous loan that they give you. Off of whatever it may be that you end up with, 1%, 1.2%. You have to pay.
Yeah.
You have to pay this loan back, and it's a never-ending hole. And I think one of the big stories with that is 30 Seconds to Mars with Universal. They've sold almost 6 million records, and they're still $1.7 million in debt to their label.
Wow, that's insane.
It's nuts, and when you hear that story, it really puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
That that maybe a label isn't the way to go with some bands. I mean, some bands are just striving for it, and it's the stars in the eyes. You know, they are still the mentality that a label is this legendary thing that, oh, when you get signed, it means you're going to be famous, you know.
Right.
And that's not really the way the industry works, and it's really crazy once you get involved in the industry and you start seeing how things really work, and you realize labels pick up bands and they shelve them. They'll put money into them, and it's a tax write-off for the big boys that they're dumping money into, you know, into the big bands that they've got that are actually making them money.
Right.
And then they shelve the smaller bands. They don't care about them. They don't go out on tour, and whatever money you make, whatever, and we'll take it. Doesn't matter. And it's pretty crazy, man. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. So, now that I've totally sidetracked us, my apologies.
No, I'm sorry, man. I'm rambling.
No, it's okay. That's why I love these interviews. And if you remember from the first time, there's no real set format to this, and it's supposed to be a BS session, not this set format where everybody's all stiff and forget that crap. That don't work for me. So
that's great.
So I love it when you guys ramble.
I'm the same way. I love it when it's a conversation rather than question. But you know, I mean, like, it's back and forth. It's nice.
Yep, very cool. So back to the current album again. You know, on the 23rd, correct, is when it releases officially.
Right, you got it.
Where did you guys record at? What studio did you use?
There's a place that we've called home for a long time called Porcupine Studios in Chandler, Arizona. It's just a little bit south of Phoenix. And it's actually the original studio I interned at when I met Glenn and everything. So it's like it's got a lot of meaning to the band, and we've done all of our recordings there. That's where we rehearse. So it's kind of our home base.
Well, and that's got to be amazing. I mean, the fact that you did your intern there and you pretty much probably know everybody, and then on top of that adds to the comfort level for you going there. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really comfortable space for us. We can go there and we can create, and we can work and work on a live show. It's a good place for us.
Yeah, very good. And then the other thing I'm curious to know about is how long did it take from when you guys started writing this new album to actually getting it to where you're at, to getting it recorded? How long did the process take for you guys?
We tried to give ourselves as much space as possible, but then when you have to rent out a studio to work on things and pay somebody to mix it and master it and the artwork and everything. I mean, you have to allow yourself enough time, but you also have to give yourself a little bit of a deadline, so you're not just overextending yourself and dragging your budget over the rocks and thinning it out, So we started, we got off tour November 10th of 2012, and we started writing right away. I took my Pro Tools rig out to New Mexico when I was there with my family, and the way that we work is, I write a lot of the core of song, the core of the music, and I throw it into the band now. Everybody takes a listen to it, and then everybody's input starts coming in, and we start shaping. You shape the songs to be what they are, and everybody puts their twist on it, and then it's Sammus theorized,
Right. Very cool.
And so, throughout December, I was writing a bunch of music and putting in there, and then I got back in January, and me and Jeremy started writing a couple things and finishing out these songs, and then we went to the studio. It was February 9th, and we just worked and worked and worked. It was 12 to 15-hour days every day for 2.5, 3 weeks, and we had all the recordings done by the end of February, and we sent them out to Eben Radonici, who was the guy who did all the mixing for it, who was actually a good friend of ours in the band, Cage 9, who we went on tour with on our fall tour, and he's produced a bunch of bands. He does he's done the last few Powerman 5000 records, and he's got a really crazy year. It's really good. So we had talked with him over the fall tour, and we ended up going with him to produce it. And so, I mean, at the very end, it came down to the wire because we had set our CD release date once we had the music finished and recorded. So the whole process, everything has to go in order. You know, you have to get it mixed, then you have to get it mastered, and while that's going on, you're working on the artwork, and you have to make sure everything's good there. And then when it all comes together, then you have to send it in for replication, and that's got a 2 to 3 week turnaround time. So we were kind of down the wire. I picked them up on Friday morning. It's like this Friday morning, the day of the release party.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was all. We allowed ourselves the perfect amount of time, and we got lucky with that. So pretty stoked with how everything fell together.
Right down the wire for sure. Holy man.
Right.
But hey, it all worked out, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who did the artwork for you guys? So I'm looking at your Facebook page right now, and there's the little picture that says "Request Numb" on your local rock station. Mm-hmm. Is that the cover work?
It is with the creature with the tentacles.
Yeah.
The guy standing in front of it. Yeah. My older brother is actually the guy who's done all of our artwork. His name's Brian Hughes. He's it's funny because he helped us with our first album. I think it was kind of a fluke. He was just like, yeah, I'll help you out. I'll help you. He had never designed album artwork before, but he had been working as a graphic artist for years, you know. And so he goes, here's the rough draft, and he sends over for our first album, and we beat our pants. I was like, wow, man, this is incredible. And he's been our graphics guy ever since. He's done all of our albums and all of our stuff ever since. So super easy to work with, and he's insanely talented. I don't just say that to my brother. I tell him he sucks.
Well, it's very cool, and I, as a fan of music, so much appreciate bands that put some work and effort into their covers. I cannot stand it when a band just puts a picture of themselves because, you know, I don't want to look at you guys. I want to look at artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that's the exciting thing about making an album, man. And it's both sides. It's the mixing and everything, as well as the artwork. It's basically, you have a theme of your album. You know what your album is supposed to be about. You know what you want it to be about. And when you want to speak that way, visually and musically, you know. So especially with the artwork, you hand it over to the graphic artist, and they bring your theme to life visually. And that's always, it's like Christmas, you know. You're not sure how it's going to look. You know what the theme is, but you don't know how it's going to look. And that's something that a good graphic artist or graphic designer is going to do, is they're going to take your theme and they're going to put it out visually, and it's going to be perfect. It's going to make sense and be what you want it to be, you know. And so that's always really fun. I've always loved that when you get to see your theme. You know?
Yeah, very cool. And by the way, Shauna just messaged me on Facebook and told me to tell you hi. So
I'll tell her hello.
So, what if I was to grab your iPod or your MP3 player, what bands and music would I find you listening to right now?
Oh man, I listen to a lot of stuff. It's a good question. I mean, I've got Avenged Sevenfold on there. I've got, you know, See 3 Days Grace. I've got a lot of modern active rock here. I've got some Rush stuff, some older stuff, you know. I don't know. I listen to a lot of newer bands. I try and stay current, and that's where I'm at a lot. Mostly like the 2000s, 1990s, and 2000 era. So.
Okay, very good. So, what and how would you define success for Sammus Theory? I mean, where do you guys hope to be in a couple more years with everything?
A couple more years. You know, realistically, I think every band starting, every band that's going wants to play the arena tours. They want to play in front of thousands of people and expose their music to thousands of people. And of course, I'll say that that's our big goal. We want to play to as many people as we possibly can and get out there and reach as many people as we possibly can and connect with everybody. I think when you look in terms of realistically, as we've been growing over the last few years, I think I'd like to be, and I think I speak for the rest of the guys too, but I mean, we want to be selling out mid-sized clubs at that point, if not more. Still touring the country, and just growing our fan base. Constantly growing our fan base, and I think if we can be doing this and making a comfortable living doing it, that's very successful to me.
Okay, very cool. Well, I definitely wish you guys the best of luck with everything you guys want to achieve. And back since the very first interview I did with you, I won't say stalking you, but I've definitely been following you guys and keeping track of what's going on, because I was just waiting for the next album so we could talk again, and here we are. So,
well, thank you very much, man. I definitely appreciate you having me on.
So I look forward to the next album. Not to push it ahead here, but I look forward down the road to being able to do this again with you guys when other things come up. So,
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Okay, so what sets you guys apart from all the other bands out there? This is kind of your chance to sell the Sammus Theory a little more. Why should people come to your live shows, this tour you're going to be doing? Why should people buy your music and your merchandise?
I think every band has their own unique style, their own unique way of communicating with fans and writing music, and I think we're a band that's known a lot for our stage show. We lay it all out on the stage every night that we play. We play as hard as we can. We want to put on the best show that we possibly can, and we're always striving for more. And I think we're also known for being a band that's good with communicating with our fans. We love talking with our fans. We love, when we talk to people on Facebook, and we get out there on tour and we can put actual face to that name. That's something that's really cool for us, and I think I hope it shows, that it shows through that we love talking to our fans. It's not just something that we say; it's something that we actually love doing.
Right, and unfortunately, I've never been to a show with you guys, but I believe you, and I trust that comes through. So I just can't wait to get to a show where I actually get to see it.
Yes, I can't wait for you to come to a show.
Yep.
It's fun. It's one of those things that I can't really describe the Sammus Theory show, because it's different for every place we go to. And by different I don't mean like different songs and different atmosphere or anything, but it's we cater it to each crowd. You feel out the show and what's going on, and you work with the crowd, and I think that's what it's about. Each show should be somewhat personalized, so that you're not just rehashing the same exact thing over and over and over. I mean, you have to have rehearsed things, obviously, but I think there needs to be a personal element to it, and that's what makes a good live show.
Very cool. Well, when you guys are looking at Michigan venues, Planet Rock and Battle Creek, I think you guys have played there before, possibly.
Oh, we played there a lot of times. We love that place.
Well, I made some connections with them, so there's a potential when you guys, if you guys do a show there, where I could actually be there and stream your show live on air as well.
Very cool. That would be awesome.
So we can just when it gets to the fall and you're gonna, and you're picking dates, if that comes up as one of the locations, make sure you let me know, and then I'll work with them to see if I can make that happen.
Awesome.
So, okay, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a live show that you're willing to share?
Craziest thing that's ever happened to us at a live show that I'm willing to share. That's tough. I don't know if anything really that crazy has happened.
Well, and I can put a twist on that. Let's say, what's been your biggest moment at a show? Where you're like, oh my God, this is real. This is happening.
Oh man, that's an easy one. There was when we were playing Uproar, the Uproar Festival. We played a date in Denver, Colorado, at the Comfort Dental Amphitheater, and we were in front of 7,500 people, and I remember it's one of those things where you're on stage and you're doing your thing, and then you realize you're like, wow, there's a lot of people, and it kicks in all of a sudden. You just kind of realize where you're at, what you're doing, and then your adrenaline shoots through the roof. And I remember it was kind of an unplanned thing, jump off the stage and jump up on the barricade, and I had all these. I've never been grabbed at before, and that was really weird to me. People grabbing my neck and shirt and started screaming. I remember thinking that was it was so cool to connect with people that intensely. I think that was a really cool moment. And we're playing the song "Pure" that we do, and we get the whole crowd screaming "Hey bitch." that's the chorus to the song.
Right.
And when you have 3,000 people yelling that back at you and throwing their fists, 3,500 people yelling that, it's a pretty indescribable thing. It was awesome. That was definitely a moment.
I was gonna say that has to be an adrenaline rush that tops no other right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And especially when I had gotten on the barricade, and I see a lot of bands do this, and I finally understood it. I finally understood why a lot of bands do that. They jump up there, and you're right there with the music fans, and you can feel every bit of energy that they've got, and so you're throwing it right back out there, and it's just this really crazy moment where you're just it kind of brought me back to going to shows when I was younger, and it brings you back to that moment where you're with the fans rather than on the stage with a barricade between you and the fans. You're with them. You're there. You're in the same moment and space with what they're feeling and what you're feeling. It's a pretty cool thing.
It sounds like it. Who in the band spends the most time in front of a mirror getting ready for a show?
In front of a mirror. That's a good question. I don't think really any of us spend that much time in front of a mirror. I think we're more about just make sure that we're showered so we don't smell bad.
That's always important.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna go give hugs to fans and stuff, and you smell like onion soup. That's not a good thing ever.
Where'd you pull onion soup from?
I don't know, man. There's some horrible smells that come up on tour. There's no real way to describe them. So
yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Anything else? Anything that I haven't asked you that you want to make sure everybody hears this interview knows about the Sammus theory?
I want to say I definitely want to give a shout out to all of our fans currently, past, present, and whoever joins in the future. We have a ridiculously loyal and awesome fan base. We did a Kickstarter campaign that completely funded the new album. Incredible response. So I want to thank everybody who contributed to that, whether it was actually pledging or sharing the link to help get the word out there. So a huge shout out to our fans for being so incredibly awesome and loyal, and they're sharks when it comes to helping us out, and the support is pretty awesome. So huge thank you to you guys.
Very cool, and I can totally appreciate that, because same thing with the radio station. Without the fans, well, obviously without the bands, but without the fans that actually come and listen to the bands, I mean, none of us would be anything. So, huge props to the fans.
Absolutely.
Okay, the last thing I want to ask from you is a couple radio tags.
Okay.
So the first one, you can say this is Sam Hughes, or just say this is Sam, however you want to do it, and just say, this is Sam from the Sammus Theory, and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
All right, you ready? Rockaddictradio.com.
Yep.
All right, you ready?
Go.
All right. What's up? This is Sam from the Sammus Theory, and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
Perfect, man. And then the second one, if you can do the same thing, but say that you're listening to DJ REM at Rock Addict Radio.
DJ REM at Rock Addict Radio. Do
Yep.
I need to say the .com?
No, you don't have to.
Okay. DJ REM at Rock Addict Radio. All right.
Yep.
What's up? This is Sam from the Sammus Theory, and you're listening to DJ REM on Rock Addict Radio.
Very cool. Perfect, man. I appreciate that, because
Awesome.
the station tag I send out to all the DJs, because we have 12 right now, and so they can play. And then obviously whenever I get your tunes, I also send those to the DJs so they can play them. So
very cool.
Very much appreciated. So thanks again for taking the time to chat with me. I appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I definitely appreciate it.
Within the next week or so, just depending on how busy my life gets, I will have this uploaded to YouTube, and then I will share the link with you guys and with Shauna and everybody.
Very cool, man. We'll get it out there. Okay,
well, you have a great day, and I'll talk to you again.
All right, you too, man.
All right, take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.